We're the Married Critics. Rightio. So, we just finished watching the new comedy film yesterday.
Yeah, I'd say it was a comedy.
Yeah, it's a comedy, I guess. And, I have to say, I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, because we haven't spoken about our feelings about it yet since we walked out of the theatre. We're saving it for here. But in terms of comedy with some heart, I've just got to say this was a masterpiece for me.
I agree. Absolutely agree.
Now, I don't know if I'm just on a high because the soundtrack was fantastic. But yeah, it wasn't just funny. Like, I was laughing out loud a lot, and it was a lot of the humor was subtle, but it was like exactly my kind of humor. It was cracking me up, and but it had heart too. It had real heart to it. The performances were great. Like I said, the jokes landed. The soundtrack was fantastic. You know, I'm a fan of the Beatles, so you know it was good for me. I'm glad it wasn't some band that I don't like, but the concept, just the concept was fantastic, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I could watch tons of these.
Oh yeah, like they could spin it off so much. Look, if you don't know what the storyline is, it's basically this guy. He's like a struggling musician, an up and coming sort of guy doing pub gigs and that around England, but he's not getting any success at all. And him and his manager just keep going around to different clubs and pubs, and yeah, he's not breaking through to the big time at all. And he's about to throw in the towel and give up the music career, just go back to his day job. And then he's pedaling home one night on his bike, and there's a worldwide electrical blackout for like 12 seconds all around the world. And just as the lights go out, he's passing through an intersection, and there's a bus coming, and the bus can't see him because the headlights are out, and bang, he gets smacked. He gets knocked out, ends up in the hospital. And when he wakes up, he's now in some form of parallel dimension, some alternate reality where the Beatles never became a band.
Yes.
They don't exist as a band. And he starts playing their songs, and thinking everyone will know what song he's playing, and no one's ever heard of them before. And he realizes, starts Googling it and all that, and the Beatles, they don't exist in his universe. Yeah. And so he takes full advantage of it and starts covering all their songs but claiming them as his own. And he pretty quickly, I think I'd say, within the space of a few months, becomes like the biggest
songwriter.
Singer-songwriter, the most popular singer-songwriter in the entire world. Who's about to release his debut album, which has like the best written songs of all time compiled into one album, because he just takes the best of the Beatles songs over their entire career and puts them all into one album, and everyone thinks he's just written them right then and there. So it's a brilliant concept, and you could milk the hell out of this concept. I mean,
well, they've
think about the
set
possibilities.
It up so well.
Yes,
they've set it up for possible spin-offs with all of the extra. As the movie goes along, you realise that there's quite a bit missing from.
Yeah. Are we going to do spoilers?
Well,
yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
All right, spoiler alert. The Beatles aren't the only thing that don't exist in this new alternate reality that he lives in now. Coca-Cola, the drink company, was never formed, because his mum brings him a Pepsi, and he's like, "Oh, don't we have Coke?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?"
What's Coke?
It's Coca-Cola. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he Googles Coke or Coca-Cola, and all that comes up is like cocaine. So
what else was missing? There was
right at the end, he references Harry Potter.
Yep. There's no Harry Potter. A world without Harry Potter.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me, but it wouldn't faze me. Probably be a bit of a better place, but no. I'm not a fan, folks. Sorry,
No.
but
He's a muggle.
Yeah, that's right. I do know what that is, by the way.
Yeah. Well, anyway, cigarettes.
and I know it's a compliment. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was the other weird one. Yeah.
No cigarettes.
No cigarettes.
I
So
could live in a world like that.
yeah, me too. Like, I'm not a smoker, but well, the world would be a lot healthier, wouldn't it? You'd think so.
Yeah.
Unless that's probably. See, I don't know how would that work, because America's still a country, and you know, that means tobacco was still discovered. So how did they never? I don't know.
They just never thought to smoke it, I guess.
Yeah. Because, you know, that they came to the new world, they found tobacco, they sent it to the old world. How did this not happen in his universe? Because history seems to be the same, like, for the most part, minus the Beatles and Coca-Cola and Harry Potter.
And Oasis.
Oh yeah, Oasis. Oasis also never existed, he finds out. And that, I guess that makes sense, because they seem to be influenced by the Beatles. I mean, they look just like them.
Yeah.
You know, the same haircuts and everything. So, I guess no Beatles means no Oasis. Oh, and spoiler alert, John Lennon's in this movie.
He was the one that I wasn't expecting to be
Yeah,
there,
well, because he's not alive.
Yeah.
So I thought if they,
Well,
I thought it'd be
cool
cool
for them to bring him back.
Yeah,
So,
I thought if they are going to have some of the Beatles in it, obviously they're going to have Paul or Ringo, who are still going along, you know. But and I thought, oh, if they pull, you know, if they go for a John Lennon, they're going to have to CGI him or something. But they just put some prosthetics on a guy, you know.
Yeah.
I'd laugh if it was his son, Julian, who played him, or Sean.
Oh, we didn't.
Not Julian. Julian Lennon doesn't look that much like he looks like John's son, but doesn't look like John. But Sean Lennon, his younger son, looks exactly like him.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. But
There
he's
you
not
go.
old enough to play a 78-year-old John, which is how old I guess he'd be now if he was still alive. But yeah, so in this alternate universe, John Lennon's just a nobody. He's just a guy who, well, he seemed to just live on a beach.
Yeah.
And yeah, and he's, you know, still alive at 78.
There were just
So
so
it was
many
cool.
touching moments
Yeah.
throughout the film. So one minute you'd be laughing your head off, and then the next minute I was choking back on tears, going, wow, I really feel it. I feel just the weight of the scene.
The love story in it was very well done. I feel
Yes.
it actually felt real. It didn't feel like acting.
Yeah, but also just seeing the conflict in himself
Oh yeah,
between right and wrong.
it was
oh.
all weighing on him, not just the love, not just the fact that he was going to lose the love of his life. His manager has been in love with him. He finds out since he was in high school, since they've known each other.
Yeah.
But and he has too. He just never, I don't know, like he never did anything about it, I guess.
Yeah, they sort of became
Almost friend zoned each other.
Yeah, friend zoned.
But she was still secretly in love with him, and I guess he was secretly in love with her.
Mm.
And yeah, it was just that sort of thing, because they never spoke about it and nothing ever happened about it.
Yeah.
It's a lack of communication. But you really, so you felt, yeah, towards the end of the film, you felt the weight of that on his shoulders, the fact that he was going to lose the love of his life, and you felt the weight of the guilt on his shoulders that he was taking credit for music he never wrote.
Yes.
And that was really weighing on him.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, he redeemed himself.
He did.
did.
It didn't end the way I thought it would end.
Yeah, I didn't know how they were going to go about ending it. I really had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought, like, is he going to somehow return to his reality? Somehow?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was it all? I was expecting him to wake up from a coma, and then
Oh, he was in hospital the whole time.
he was in hospital the whole time, and then he goes to what was her name? I can't remember her name now.
Ellie.
Ellie. Yes.
Ellie
So
Welly.
He goes to.
That's what the dad called her.
Oh, okay.
You won't see. It's obviously like she was close with the family
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was expecting him to wake up and say, "Oh, Ellie, yes, come to me. I love you."
Mm.
You know, but I'd like my little
And just
cliche
completely forget about the
ending.
music. Just give up the music and just be with her.
No, well, he was back.
Is that what you? No, is that what you were
Yeah.
expecting to happen?
I guess so.
Yeah, that could have
Or-
worked too. It could have worked, because then the message of the movie would have been, you know, similar, the same message that it was in this, which is, you know, that the love was more, I guess, more important than the music, you know,
Yeah.
or more important than the career and the fame, and being honest, you know, because he was racked with guilt,
Yes.
because he was taking credit for something he didn't do, and in the end, he gave credit in the big, you know, in Wembley Stadium, one of the biggest, you know, venues in the world that you can perform music at.
Yes.
And he gave credit where credit's due to John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to say, even though John Lennon was in this movie, I was hoping to see the others as well, but you know, it was good seeing John, even though he's not my favourite. George Harrison is. You know, controversial opinion. I think he's the most talented of the Beatles.
I've never been a fan
of the Beatles.
So,
No,
yeah. But this movie made me want to listen to some of their music.
yeah. Hey, it was a great advertisement for their back catalogue of music.
Absolutely.
I bet if we'd stayed at the end of the credits, it would have said movie funded, proposed, and written by Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, like to keep the Beatles alive, for another generation.
Yeah.
I hope
that's very good.
I hope this movie is successful. I hope it introduces a whole new generation to the Beatles, because he was playing it as though they were new songs now coming out in 2019, and they were tearing up, the charts. And I think I leaned over to you during the movie and I said, "Do you reckon these songs would be successful nowadays?" And you said, "Probably not."
Yeah, probably not.
But I think some of them would. They're catchy songs. You can't say they're not catchy.
I feel like they're too clean.
Too clean?
Yes.
Well, if you listen to some of their later stuff, late 60s stuff, they reckon there's all kind of innuendos in it, so that's not clean.
Okay.
So yeah. And don't even get me started on the whole Paul is dead conspiracy theory. I'll introduce you to that later. It's madness. I don't buy it, but it's interesting either way.
It does sound familiar, actually.
Yeah. But so this has made you interested in potentially becoming a fan of the Beatles?
Well, I wouldn't go listen to every one of their songs, but I wouldn't mind listening to a few here and there.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
We'll get you into them. And then the Rolling Stones next. Again, controversial. I prefer the Stones over the Beatles, but the Beatles are good. Although I just consider them more pop, and the Stones are rock and roll.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I'm sure people really care what I think about the Stones and the Beatles. But hey, I really enjoyed this movie. I highly recommend it. I give it. What would you give it out of 10?
I'm actually going to go with 9.
You're going with a 9?
I'm going with 9. It's not going to be one of my favourite movies of all time, but it felt... I just really enjoyed it. I felt all of the emotions the whole way through. Yep. It was great.
I would... When I was about to rate it, I almost jumped out with a 10 out of 10, which is crazy for me. I haven't given a movie... I haven't given a movie 10 out of 10 for a long time. And I was just going to give it purely on enjoyment's sake. But I'll hold back on that. I'll hold back on giving it a 10 out of 10. I'd have to watch it a few more times. But it's definitely a movie I want to watch more times.
Yeah.
Definitely repeat viewing. It's one I'd probably buy and watch again and again, along the lines of some of my favourite comedies that I would watch over and over again. And it's not the funniest comedy in the world, but it's one of the most heartfelt ones I've seen.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah.
And so for now, I'll give it a 9, same as you. Could go up on repeat viewings. I don't really have anything negative to say. I saw one review on YouTube that said the only negative thing he could say about the movie was there's some weird camera angles in the first 10 minutes. And I noticed there was. Danny Boyle was having, some fun there with the weird cinematography. But again, it didn't take me out of the movie.
I didn't notice it except that one time you pointed it out.
Didn't bother me at all. Oh, the guy, is it Hamish or Himesh Patel? Something like that.
I'm not sure.
Sorry if I butchered your name, bro. I'm sure you're listening to this review. But great performance. Great performance. You're very good. He was very good comedically with his line deliveries and that. Very British humour, obviously, But he's really good with the heartfelt stuff too.
Yes.
Really good.
Yeah. You could just tell it's like he wasn't doing anything, but you could just feel what he was feeling.
Yeah,
he was done very well.
He did the whole weight of the world on his shoulders thing really well, I felt. Kate McKinnon was great as the manager, just a real hateable sort of.
Yes.
And I thought it was good because it was she was over the top with how cold and calculating she was, but I felt like that was just an allegory for the music industry. How the record producers, most of the time, I'm sure there are some good ones, but most of the time I think they just see the musicians as a product, and that was an actual line in the movie.
Yeah.
She said, I don't care about him, he's just a product to me. And about how much money he can make for her. Oh, and the guy who played his friend, he was great. What was his name? Rocky or something?
Oh.
He was hilarious. He was hilarious.
He
Like,
did some great awkward moments.
for anyone who's watched the movie, because this is a spoiler review, I assume you've already seen it. The two bits
Sorry if you haven't.
the two bits that made me laugh the most was, there's probably more if I rewatch it, but the two that I'm remembering
I know
now
what you're gonna say.
is when that Rocky guy said, "Oh, do you mind if I just have a few crisps for the road?" And he took like the whole packet, took his giant handful of them. And I love the way British people call chips crisps. It just cracks me up every time. It's such like a formal, official way of talking about something so mundane and stupid like chips.
It makes sense. I
Yeah,
guess.
it does.
It's
We
confusing for
differentiate
us.
them.
Like even when we speak to our kids, we're like, "Oh, do you
Yeah.
want some chips?" They're like, "Which ones? The ones in the packet or
Well, in
some hot ones?"
If you're not familiar with Australian slang, we call, we call fries or whatever. We just call them hot chips,
Yeah.
and crisps we just call chips. People usually know what you're talking about because you say hot chips. If you don't say hot chips, you're talking about crisps, pretty much.
Mind you, the first time I ever went on an American cruise liner,
Yeah.
I ordered a cheeseburger and
And
some
chips. Yeah, you made the mistake.
It said cheeseburger
Yeah,
and
yeah.
chips. And then when I got to my room, I was like, "What the heck is this?
Yeah, she had.
Where are my fries? Or
She
where are my
opened
hot chips?"
She opened up the balcony door and yelled out, "What are these crisps?" No, she didn't do that. Sorry.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So,
Whoa!
yeah. So, how many subs did I just lose?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
My husband.
Hey, you're
He's
with.
a funny guy.
Sometimes you bomb, and sometimes you bomb. I just pretty much always bomb with my jokes. But yeah, you got to be very specific when you're in the United States. When you're outside of Australia, you got to be specific with your chips and your crisps, or you're gonna get the wrong one.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was
I
the-
even asked for tomato sauce or ketchup
Oh yeah, ketchup. Yeah,
with my chips.
and they gave it to you
And
to dip your crisps
they gave
into.
They gave me salt and vinegar crisps.
They didn't even ask you what flavor of chips you wanted. See, that would have tipped you off. If you said, I want a burger and chips or whatever, and they said, "Oh, what flavor chips would you like?"
Was that your American
You know?
accent?
Yeah. What flavor chips would you like, ma'am? You know, if they at least said that, it would have tipped you off. You're like, what flavor
I know,
chips? What
I
kind of?
know.
There's only one kind, and then you would have realised
Yes.
they're talking about crisps,
Yes.
and you wouldn't have had to yell out of the balcony. And they wouldn't have had to stop the ship and start looking for people overboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, the funny bits of the movie.
Yes.
So there was the crisps scene,
Yes.
which started this whole ridiculous tangent
Tangent.
I've gone on, right? But then the other bit that cracked me up, you might have missed the line, is when when there's a scene where again, another really good scene. This Russian guy who's
yes.
been sort of
Speak about that.
this Russian guy's been listening in at his concerts and watching him and looking him up online, and you get the impression this guy actually knows what's up. He has heard of the Beatles before. And I thought, I was looking at the guy, because you see him when he's at his Moscow concert, and he knows the song and he's heard it before. You can just tell because he's staring at Jack Malik, the main character who's performing back in the USSR, as though it was his own song. And so he's staring at him. And I'm sitting there trying to think, who could this guy be in terms of the Beatles? But then I'm like, he doesn't look old enough to have been around back then. So who the hell could this guy be? It didn't click to me until just before the big reveal that he must have been a guy that also came into their universe when the whole blackout thing happened. So he remembered who the Beatles were. Why?
I remember you leaned over and you're like, "Oh, yeah, they crossed over too, I think." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you figured that out straight away.
As soon as I saw
she's
him,
a
I
lot.
was like,
She's a lot quicker than me.
He's not
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, no, she figures stuff out. It takes me till the end of the movie, sometimes a week later.
But
I just wake up in the middle of the night and yell out the premise of the movie. I finally get it! Crisps! Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, this movie, like, I had a bit of a tough night, and then so I went into the movie just going, oh great, here we go. You know, I'm not in the mood for this, and it was just so good. It really lifted the spirits and
cheered you up.
Yeah, it cheered me up, and then it made me cry, and then it cheered me up, and then it made me cry. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. And the other thing is, I'm so glad that he was a what's the word? Now I'm gonna have one of those
virtuous sort of guy, like
yes,
a decent guy. He had a good heart.
Yeah,
because he felt bad about taking the music, whereas other people, you know, a lesser person wouldn't have. They would have just loved it. They would have soaked up all the money and the fame and all that.
Yeah, it could have been a completely different movie,
and would have taken all the credit for themselves. Yeah,
if he wasn't half.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Decent.
This movie had heart. It was a comedy with heart, which is the same way I felt about The Wedding Singer. Why I like the movie The Wedding Singer a lot, because it has heart as well as being a comedy. You know. Yeah. You know,
Yeah. No, it's funny you mentioned The Wedding Singer, because I was thinking The Wedding Singer. Now when I think of this movie, that's what I think of.
This is like the new Wedding Singer in terms of that level of comedy movie that has is deeper than just for laughs. Yes. Didn't have as many laughs as The Wedding Singer.
No. And there's no Julia Goulia.
There's no Julia Goulia.
But
and there's no Glenn Goulia either.
Glenn Goulia, yeah.
And there were cones. But hey, it still had its moments, which I was trying to say. My other funny moment.
Go on.
Yeah. So that
half an hour later.
It's the scene, that Russian guy and this other British woman who realise they seem to be like some of the only other people that remember the Beatles. And instead of trying to out him or whatever, they go to meet him, and he's scared. He's scared that they're going to confront him and out him as a liar. They're just like, hey, you're the only other one that remembers these songs, and we just want to thank you for keeping the songs alive so that we can still enjoy them. And I was like, wow, that's not going the way I expected, but I'm glad it did. And then they were having a little moment where the three of them, you know, those two with Jack Malik, they all start singing, we all live in a yellow submarine, you know, reminiscing and loving it. And then the Russian guy just like, as they're singing that, he just goes, I live in Octopus Garden. Yeah. That's the other bit that cracked me up. That and the crisps scene. Those two were my favourite scenes from memory. If I watch it again, there'll probably be new scenes that crack me up. But
yeah.
It was very good. We both give it a 9, so check it out, folks. You know, I could just keep talking about it forever, probably. Well, not forever, obviously, but for a long more time, so I won't. Yeah, sorry, you got something else to say?
No, I wish I did have more to say about it. I wish I could give this movie the justice that it deserves, kind of thing. Like, I really enjoyed it. I'm finding it hard to say the exact reasons I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed it from start to end.
Well, we could talk about it more, expand on it, because maybe we should do a video later on about all the possibilities you could do with sequels.
Yes. Because
there is a ton. I hope they make a sequel to this movie with the same character. And maybe he steals Harry Potter. and J.K. Rowling's just like a single mum living in, you know, a housing estate or something.
Which is how she started.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, in this universe, that's all she would be, right?
Well, it was written, what, 20 years ago?
Yeah. She'd just be an average Joe, Anne. That's her name, isn't it?
Boom.
Yeah. It's
getting awkward.
There's lots of possibilities, but hey, tell us in the comments, you know, your ideas for possible sequels or spin-offs, or, you know, what other bands could they have made that don't exist, and, you know, they could do the same concept with. You know, what did you, like I said to you before the movie started, if it was up to you, what band would you, if it was up to you, any band that, you go to a parallel world, they don't exist in the history timeline of that universe, and then you can steal all their songs, which band would it be? And who did you say?
Nickelback.
Nickelback, yeah.
No, I am a loud and proud fan of Nickelback.
Yeah. I don't know who I'd pick. I mean, who could you get more iconic than the Beatles, I guess? Maybe I'd say Rolling Stones. I don't know.
No.
Maybe AC/DC or something. But the thing is, I have no musical talent, as I'm sure you can tell in this review when I, attempted to mimic a song here or there. But yeah, I've got no musical talent. But I guess,
Sorry.
What? Go.
The one thing that did disappoint me about this movie...
But that it ended.
Oh, yes. No, I was waiting to hear him sing Wonderwall again.
Oh, you thought he would do that, yeah.
Wonderwall.
You know what? I thought it was going to end when he literally drew the curtains at the end there, when he spoke about the Harry Potter. When it was established that they were together. And that would have been a good ending too, but I'm glad they showed the end montage.
Yes.
Because we got one more great Beatles song, Obla Di Obla Da. We got to see them married and have children together. And I love seeing the strong, happy family sort of ending. That's beautiful. That's very nice.
That was a really good touch.
Yep.
Props to the all the oldies that were who stayed out late
in our cinema.
Oh,
yeah.
The youngest
they were loving it
by
because they were probably young when
30 years
when the Beatles came out.
Yeah.
A lot of them. A lot of these songs are like 55 years old and older.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
I hope our generation go out and see this movie.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I hope they do.
Which is why I think they put Ed Sheeran in it.
You know what? You're probably right. I didn't even think of that. Like, why is he... I thought maybe just because he's, a popular singer nowadays. But yeah, that might very well get the youngsters in to watch it.
All the fangirls.
Yeah. Yeah, he was good in it too. I don't think he's had any acting experience. He hasn't been in any other movies, has he?
No, but he was in Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, he was. Whoa. How weird was that?
Yeah.
Why was he in that?
I'm pretty sure he's been in something else as well.
And he wasn't even in the worst season, which is last season. I think it was in season 7. Something like that.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, but he was good in this. He played his role well. It was pretty funny. But yeah, the guy, in terms of the comedy, I'd say most of it was stolen by that Rocky guy. I hope I'm getting his character name right. He was hilarious. Yeah, the way he played it. But I think his style of humor won't be for everyone. It's very dry and subtle. Sometimes subtle and sometimes not. But yeah, very good. Oh, his parents, the folks who played his parents were really good. I'm sure the dad is the guy who was in the Kumars. There was a British comedy show called the Kumars. That was pretty good. And yeah, they were good. The parents were hilarious.
That was a great scene, the first scene with the parents, where he's trying to play the song, and
I can identify with that so much.
Yes, your parents.
Yeah. But no, but even in our house, I'll be like, there's this great song that means so much to me and touches my heart. I want to play it for you guys. And halfway through the song, Mommy, Daddy, I want a sandwich. Or, the doorbell rings or something like that.
Yeah.
And it
Our phones always
sort of,
go off.
Yeah, wrecks the moment.
Yeah.
And
There's
it's like
always something.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very good movie.
I reckon, like, for the next day or so, we're just going to be remembering things. And,
I should have said that. I just remembered something right now. You know how his teeth got knocked out in the accident? You reckon they just CGI'd that? Or you reckon he actually let them smash 2 of his teeth out for the movie? Because it looked so real.
So real.
No, it's got to be CG.
It looks so painful.
Because they can CG stuff now, even little small things, and you don't even notice it. It's like photorealistic.
True.
So yeah. Any closing thoughts?
No.
I mean, we gave our ratings like 10 minutes ago. I thought we were closing it out then. Yeah. You're like, did you say we'll keep it to 10 minutes? No?
Uh-oh.
No. I thought we were going to try to keep this one short, maybe 10 minutes, but it's blown out to half an hour.
Oh, sorry.
Again.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's our thoughts. Let us know yours in the comments.
And if you've listened this far, I know it's been a long and winding road. I've been waiting half an hour to get that one in. But yeah, thanks for listening. Please give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a share, and tune. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Yeah, and go check out this movie and tune in for our next review.
And we'll practice that better for next time.
Yeah, crisps.